Hello and good evening, everyone, and welcome to The Truth Behind the Truth. Another awesome Tuesday night, and here on the West Coast as well as on the East Coast. All right. I got to send a little love to the East Coast. It's been hot in the East Coast. You know that, right?
It's going to get hot here, too.
Yeah, they have had a heat storm. I mean, everywhere, New York and everybody. Has it been hot down, really hot in Atlanta, Charles?
100 degrees.
Woo. And what's the humidity?
I don't know that because I stayed inside.
Yeah.
Well, I heard Tampa, Florida, they had hit a record high. I think it was Sunday. This past Sunday, they hit a record high. I think it was over the 3 digits, over 100. I forgot what it was, but
I think it was 110 or 109, something like that.
Yeah, and they said they haven't reached that in 37 years.
Wow.
I believe that's what the weatherman was saying. That, that was the highest record that Tampa hit Sunday. So it's going to come here. We've been getting fabulous weather all July and all summer.
Yeah.
So, they are warning us that we might get in the 3 digits here, but you can never tell with California weather. I can never calculate what this weather is going to do at all. I was telling somebody on the job that on the East Coast, it's easy to kind of figure out where things are going because of the seasons. Because they have it. You have seasons back east, but here it's just you can never tell.
Yeah, we have them, but they, it's so far between, realistically, that we do. It really is that, or that we can pinpoint it. But the thing about it is, one of the great things about here is that you can always drive up to the mountains and get the snow if you really necessarily want it. Come back down and go to the beach.
Talk about a cold that's waiting to happen.
That's one of the Go ahead, keep talking.
But other than that, though, to be honest with you, now, Charles, let me ask you a question. Do I think we kind of touched on this some shows back. Do you consider yourself those foundational Black American, or do you consider yourself just Black, or do you consider yourself just African American?
That's being somebody who grew up being colored, African American, Negro.
What you say, colored?
Yeah, colored Negro and African American. It's weird, but I don't know what to say either. So I just call myself Black.
Yeah. But you know what? There's a situation going on right now. Did y'all hear about the boycott of African businesses on August the 1st?
That one, no, really?
On August the 1st, there is some grassroots boycott happening right now against African businesses.
Wow.
Is that Black African or white American?
African American immigrants, basically.
Also against the immigrant Africans.
And who's staging this? Who's supporting? Who's calling?
Well, it seems like it's more of Tariq Nasheed program with the FBAs. Then there's the adults. These two groups who consider themselves the Black American, not of any type of, they don't want to associate themselves with those from Africa. They're just strictly Black American. And to be honest with you, the reason why they're doing this because there is, we talked about this from some time. There is no connection to Africa.
No.
We don't, don't have a connection other than ancestry. Right. But our cultural connection is not there. And the fact is that there is a boundary that has now been laid down for those who feel like that we've been disrespected in our country from Africans.
Well, none of them ever accepted us. I know for the years I've been overseas, they consider us to be, Africa called us 8 balls. The only ball on the table nobody wants.
Right.
And then they've also, in Jamaica and the Virgin Islands when I went there, they hated for us to call them brothers. They say they're not our brother. So it's not like we're doing something different. They've been doing it forever. So, I mean, hey, the Africans told us we should have jumped off the ship and died instead of becoming slaves. But you can't judge a person for something you've never been through. Yeah, you can't judge somebody for what you've never been through. And then you want to be, so high and mighty. So that's why I say my ancestors may have come from there, but I'm not from there. Born and raised here. We don't say European Americans, say white Americans or they're American. So I'm an American, period. Black American, African American, I'm an American.
Well, the beef is thick on Twitter. It's been growing for some time. I've been noticing it little by little, but now that the situation with ICE and the immigrants have been going on, it's now more potent than ever not to see it. And a lot of Black Americans are drawing the line and saying, and I'll give you my experience. I went to Alabama State University, and we have African immigrants and students on that campus as well. And, honestly, they were there, but they were not always around us. They had their own little crew. They were within their own little group. So I saw the separation in that. Don't get me wrong. I have tried to befriend some of them on campus, but you could tell that their focus was not to be in any type of networking situation. It was all about them aligning themselves with people that they knew. But I can say this though, and I always ask this: how can you go into somebody's house and disrespect them like that? You come over here from another situation, not even understanding the situation at hand and already making assumptions about somebody else's situation. I've heard that we don't have culture, which I think is crazy. How can you not have culture when most of the urban hip hop stuff that we see on MTV is over in South Korea, Africa, UK, and all this stuff? Right. Jazz was our greatest export out of this country, and who started that? It makes no sense. And the sports, don't even get me started with sports. But the fact that Black Americans have been America's greatest export when it has come to the representation of how grand our culture is when it boils down to sports, athletics, movie stars, and all this stuff. You didn't see nothing but Black American faces at some points. But what do we don't have culture. We don't have culture.
Well, this, and I don't want to put it this way as a whole. Maybe this is a subject that we need to kind of impact over each other's shows, because there's a lot of things, because we can really open up the fact of how they indirectly but directly responsible for the slave trade. And we can certainly go back to Africa in terms of that aspect of everything. So to me, there was no brotherhood there established in the first place. Okay, I've been fought by that decision, and some even family members. I have family members, love them dearly, but for years they adopted the the African diaspora, if you want to say that particular time frame. And I've always been standoffish. It's not that they did anything to me or whatever the case may be, but I honestly just never felt like that ultimate connection that had to be a part of my life here. I've watched documentaries where people have had their pilgrimages back. I think Larry Reid just did his, not too long ago, whatever the case may be, and felt that he was connected. But then he brought out some other things about that connected piece too, So it is a subject that I think that maybe over in a few shows that we could, dissect, maybe lose a little bit more information about that, so we can be accurate, and fully accurate. We're always accurate, but fully accurate about what has happened, why we see each other the way that we do, because honestly, they do not look at American Blacks as the same as they do as African Blacks.
It's a tribal situation.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then,
which is the continent of Africa, right. Regardless, everything on that continent is tribalism. That's why they cannot. Exactly. That's why they cannot get their stuff together. And it's so sad that they have to. Go ahead.
They're better now. They're not. They are assembling. They are getting the currency together. They're backing their stuff with their own gold, which is where most of it is.
Well,
at.
yeah.
So
Thank you, John. That's good.
That's the reason why I said Obama killed Gaddafi, because Gaddafi was using. He was a financial wizard. He was helping them get away from the dollar. He's actually helping them combine. If you look at Libya and all them, they're more advanced culturally and I guess you call infrastructure wise than we are. And they're supposed to be poor countries. Look at how China was supposed to be so slow, but look at they have high-speed rail. They got modernized buildings. They've been doing groceries from the telephone for the last 15, 20 years. We're just not getting into it. So
Well,
you can't, and that's another thing. Black people now are saying we didn't come from Africa. There's a new reality. Which is true, we've always been here. But now they're trying to say there's no such thing as a ship to bring people all the way from Africa.
Oh my God, really?
Here. And it's the phenomenon. I know you see on Twitter.
Yeah,
people were never from Africa. They never had no ships. And so hey.
Well, I think honestly, I think that is a cry out to find some sort of identity piece.
Yeah, I think that's what
you know what I'm saying. And I have to admit to that part of it is that I understand that it is a mixed up identity. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like, I don't know if some of y'all could get mad if I give it this kind of example, but this is the best way I can come up with it. It's like a full-bred dog, okay, mating with a non-full-bred dog. Okay, they could be of the same nature, but then you have puppies of a different style or a different caliber, where they look differently, they respond to it, their hairs are different, things of that nature. Excuse me, but we're so spread out. And the best way, like I said, I'm just trying to sum this up to not to get too deep into it. It's like we come from the same litter, all right? And they're not calling us dogs, but that's just kind of the best way I come up. We come from the same litter, but we are so different in the way we look. Yeah. And it's I don't know if there's an answer for that at this time. As to where we need to go, with that as a culture of people. I'm
going to make this short and sweet. I'm going to finish. But I'm going to make this last point short and sweet.
If we know this, and then this is going to be part of some of the topic, that we'll talk about tonight. We can't focus in on trying to go back to. I say it all the time. We spend Black Americans here spend way too much time on yesterday rather than trying to prepare something for their future. So
we have no other choice because we're about to go into yesterday.
Well,
we're about to go into yesterday. I mean, but I'm not going to say this. I'm going to let you finish what you're going to say. We didn't run from America the way everybody has run from there.
No,
I'm going to be honest. Yeah, this is where the respect has to come into play for Black Americans. We didn't run. We didn't run from this place to get back to where we thought we should have been. We stayed and had to deal with the mess that we had to deal with when it came down to racism, Jim Crow, and all that stuff. And that was yesteryears.
Right.
We didn't run. We stayed and we fought tooth and nail for our rights while we were fighting and organizing. Yes, where that had with the civil rights movement had happened. The quota system died away, and then come the influx of immigrants. If it wasn't for us going into these marches, having to try to get Lyndon B. Johnson and JFK to do the right thing, do Martin Luther King, if these people didn't do what they were supposed to do, or what they did, if they didn't do what they did, their triumphs over here, their progress over here to where they can build a business over here and make the money and send it back to their original country to build homes for their families, because that does happen. They come over here and make the money, they build homes back home. That would have never happened without us doing the work for everybody else. And I think this is where it boils down to the fact that I do not care if we don't get involved in everybody else's issues, because we did enough work as it is as Black people to get people across the threshold without us. And everybody has gotten over the threshold without us and has mocked us along the way. We're lazy, we have no culture, we ain't got no country. But then on top of that, you come over here, you drop your bags, you become a little bit of wealth and a little bit of status, and you throw that in those who have helped you get across that threshold, and on top of that, you send that currency back to your whatever country you come from. That ain't right. And that is very disrespectful to some people like us. I'm so sorry.
So no, you're again.
I'm gonna leave it there. I'm off my soapbox.
Yeah. You know, there is so many layers to that.
Yes,
you know,
it is.
and you know, and looking at from it and want to give an honest opinion on both our perspectives of that. You know, let's just do it this way. Let's do a little bit more research. Probably, maybe our biggest show prior to going on hiatus for the couple weeks that we'll be on. Okay. So to give us a chance to really explore that, expand on that, so everybody can refer back to it, look at it, what we've said. So when we come back, you know, in the fall, then maybe they'll have a little bit better opinion. You know what I'm saying?
And then put it in the comments.
You know, I mean, because it's really a huge conversation.
Yes, it is.
You know, and I understand, because one of the major things is that what we have, and I'm gonna leave it this because we got to go on, that identity. There's such an identity crisis that the Black Americans face. Okay, and they want that identity. It's a hidden part within them that they want to belong. They want to belong to part of a certain group. I mean, we can go through the list of everybody that's here. They have a way. Gaza has a way. I mean, you know, you have Gazionians that are here marching in the streets in America for what's going on in Gaza.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And I'm like looking at this like, why are you expecting the American government to change what goes on in your country? Now, you came here, and that it's not insensitive, my Gazians. Okay, that's just the truth behind the truth. You know, you're expecting that nuclear support from a place that you don't even live. You escaped because of the torment and all of that. That's right. And you were welcomed, you know, up to this point until Kristi Noem get to find out where you are. She's gonna put you back over in Gaza, you know. So
as well as the Armenians
and Armenians, you know what I'm saying? We see a lot of this. I don't know, Charles, you probably don't see a lot of Gazonians and Armenians in Atlanta and Georgia. But there's a number of them out here, you know, in LA, you know, and I could get into dealing with them on another story. But that's just part of the fact of is like, as Black people in America, which I'm gonna start referring to as that, you know, these African Americans, you know, these are Black people in America. That's what we are, Black Americans. You know,
that's why we have a different breed. But
right,
going.
You know?
So we marched in Selma,
right? Well,
we marched in Birmingham, but we're gonna leave that alone.
Yeah,
we go But we did what we had to do,
right.
And because we did what we had to do,
okay.
They all over here. Let's keep it moving.
Okay. But anyway, so we'll pick this back up at another time, you know, and look into it a little bit more, because we have to be the voice of some level of healing to a group of people that are not healed. You know, then let us be that voice of healing, you know, for that group of people, you know, in ways that we can. Whether they do it or not is on them. You know, at least we can put the information out there. All right, we're gonna move on. We're gonna dig into it. So just want to get our particulars out of the way, but want to send quick. I didn't mention this to you or you, Charles. Want to send some love out to Mama D. Her older sister transitioned the other day.
Sorry,
so if she's watching tonight, I mean, I know she pops on periodically and watches the show, but just want to let her know that we're sending love and support out to her and her family and whatever. And those that you don't know, that Mama D has been on the show forever with us. She is the younger sister of Clifton Davis. Okay.
Blazing
Saddles, one of the greatest earlier African American actors, or Black American actors that really had a major move in Hollywood at the time when he was, you know, a prominent actor.
What's his name again?
Clifton.
I thought it was Clavon.
What was that? Clifton? Oh my God! Sorry, Mama D. Clavon Little. Forgot. Sorry.
Think about it like Clavon.
My bad. Okay. Anyway, let me tell you about our support real quick, and then we're gonna move on to our topic tonight. So please definitely support us. Okay. Become a next season. We're gonna start a patron level with the Truth Behind the Truth. That you'll be a part of a special club or special sector of this. Those that really follow us on a regular basis, we'd like to see some sort of a commitment coming from you on a monthly basis. Okay, don't have to be a lot, but it could be a lot. All right, $5, $10, or whatever. If this show is really over the past 5 years, we're going into our 6th season in September. Has it done something for your life over the course of 6 years? Then you deserve and you should be a patron of this show. Okay, at the end of the day, and you should be one of the ones that are serving the show to the capacity of liking and sharing and putting some dollars behind all what we got to do every week, you know, and adjustments.
Those things are free.
There you go.
Liking and sharing. That's free.
That's
Nobody's
free,
asking for money to share.
Right.
I don't.
This is true. This is true.
It's very free.
But in the meantime, so as of today, right now, our Cash App is certainly available for you. All right, it's just TTBTT show. I'm sorry, that TTBTB show on Cash App, and our Venmo is the Truth Behind the Truth. So we would love your support.
Make a song out of that.
What?
TTBTT.
But so we greatly love your support that doing that for us as well. All right. And I'm sorry, one more point, and then this is the last part on the particulars, that if you would like to advertise on our show, which we'd encourage that well, send an email to the same BTT show. The three of us will partner up and develop something that is great enough. If you don't have a huge budget, or if you have already established, send that reel, send that video, whatever to us, we'll get it taken care of. Charles is an expert at building commercial sets, writing. Okay, we're all here at it. Okay,
all right.
So we will be able to do that for you as well. Okay, let me move on. I'm talking too much about money. All right. So, Charles, what do we classify our show tonight? I know we were talking about it earlier. What was it? I
called it King Kanko's Rule America.
what did I say on the
You said it's building a winning circle.
Oh yeah, building a winning circle. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, building a winning circle, and
in the times of King Kanko.
Yeah. All right, so we're gonna start out. Basically, we got several different clips we're gonna comment on tonight. Which you guys, thank you for that, of the support and loving to see that with us. Let's start out with the black perspective. With the black man is stupid, I call it on this. On this point, but this comment that this guy made, I think it was just like the most complete stupid comment. And then we'll lead into our other fellow brothers with that, Charles.
Obama's hands are on this. And what is he doing now? He's over here with his wife doing a podcast, walking without flip-flops on the beach, acting like his whole career was everything and a bag of chips. It wasn't. It was the most corrupt presidency we've ever seen. We thought Joe Biden was bad. Now we know who was behind it all. It was Barack Hussein Obama, and we need answers.
Because I don't need an answer, because I lived through it. I don't need an answer for none of it, because let me tell you something. Barack Obama did not have a corrupt presidency, because if he would have had a corrupt presidency, we wouldn't have heard the last of it. On the first day of his presidency, Mitch McConnell stood in front of everybody and said, we're going to make him a one-term president. They were already trying to find corruption in everything that he was trying to do.
Or create corruption.
Or create corruption. Even during his campaign, everybody that either taught him as a professor was either of a socialist and communist movement. His pastor was a racist. Jeremiah Wright was his name.
Yeah, I think so.
Pastor Jeremiah. Was that? Am I correct with that, Charles? Everybody,
Yeah, Jeremiah Wright.
Jeremiah Wright. See, these folks been trying to find something on this man. But see, they're always utilizing. This is where white supremacy come into play. You need a black face to spill your evilness and your foulness and your poison. Right there, that man, I'm sorry, he is just another tool in their situation. No, Obama ain't Obama is not the most correct president I have known in this lifetime at all. And if he was, I'm sorry, who hasn't been? This is still America, right? Everybody that we know that is almighty and powerful and rich with a little bit of status, they're corrupt. But I don't know. Obama.
There's a lot of coons around. We keep a lot of coons, so we don't have to always wonder where they are. They always show their face. They always step up. Candace Owens is a prime example. When they're paying you, you're all over it. As soon as you find out they don't care about you and they don't pay you no more, now you're against them.
Right.
But it's sad.
And it's all of her videos now are all about what now she's not following. I started it to let us talk about one, but I didn't want to talk about her today.
When does this story not ever end in this situation of us being tools for white supremacy? When are we going to stop being the tool, not knowing that everybody has had a history of being a part of something that they know they had no control over? The rhetoric, we talking about Candace Owens. Yeah, Candace Owens was the jewel at one point in time for right wing media.
Right.
She talked about everybody black underneath the sun and talked down about the black community and what we were subscribing to and all this stuff. And see what her tell us. She's now being sued by the French president, the president of France, because she so busy talking about get this, calling a white woman a man.
Wow.
And now this is funny. It's okay to call Michelle Obama a man, being a black woman and being on the right wing status. And you ain't got to be a black woman. You could be a white man or white woman calling a black woman a man all day and all night. But get this, if you call a white woman a man, especially from another country, you get sued. Ain't that some mess? That's her nigga wake up moment right there.
I can't.
That's her nigga wake up moment.
Well, okay.
And I can say the word because I'm black. So, right?
Go ahead, Charles. Go ahead.
Hey, I'm with Darwin. We got a lot of these I hate to use the language too, but these dumbass niggas out here want to be white and perpetuate. Trump had the two ladies, was it Pearl and
yes.
They were, he didn't even know their names. Went to the funeral and didn't call them mismatched the names up. It didn't know who they were. Yeah, they don't know who these folks are. They do a lot of this stuff underhandedly, and we go along with it. This is the problem with I hate to say this, with black folks and the Democratic Party. You're too busy trying to play by the rules and say that you're legal and you're doing fair, when the other guy is underhanded, cutting the rules, cheating, lying, and the only thing you can say is, well, at least we're doing it the legal way, which means what? You're still losing.
Right.
So you rather lose. What's that white man King Trump thing? You rather look good and lose than win and look ugly.
Wow. Well, it really, this conversation about President Obama, my affectionate President Obama, and First Lady Michelle Obama. Okay, there's still you really, and you know what? It's like you say all the time. I'm not jumping around that moment there. It's like you say all the time. If there is no scandal, they try to find scandal. Okay, they try to impose something on you to get the disbelief about the greatness that you celebrate. Now, was he perfect? Absolutely not. Nobody said that man was perfect. Ain't none of y'all perfect either. At the end of the day, so I don't know what we really expected this man and this woman to do in a country that was already opposing them from the day that he won.
The day that he said that he was going to run for president.
That too. One thing that you cannot deny is that the night that he won, it has never been an example of unity for that moment, that hour, that time in Wrigley Field in Chicago. Okay, everybody was there. Okay, even his when you envies him, was standing there crying. But we ain't gonna talk about it.
Oh, Jesse.
Yeah, we ain't gonna talk about him either. But and to this point, that there has not been and probably never will be a largest inauguration gathered on the mall as for President Barack Obama and First Lady Michelle Obama. There has not been. That clown has been trying to match it everywhere he goes. He had to do photo overlays. For camera's sake, to make mine was bigger than Obama's, or my inauguration, he was always inside, it was still better than his, but we kept warm. Really, come on. Anyway, so but enough of that particular circle, So, what this guy is saying, he's just a part of that group, that
typical black Republican doing the will of
I
their
don't
white.
think he's a Republican.
Yes, he is. Wasn't he on Fox News? Not that long. He was on their platform.
Yeah.
He was on Fox News.
Yeah, I think
that's a Republican, a black Republican. Anybody who has time to say all that are black Republicans, and they are doing the will of their white president.
Okay.
I ain't trying to go there. I wanted to say
he may or may not have been. I'm not sure where it was,
but that one alone.
But it just but the fact is that that mindset that he operates in, because at the end of the day, whether you agree with Obama's politics, he did pay the pathway for your dumb ass to be able to get it. Well, he did. He did. He paved it. But at the end of the day, he did pave a path. Even though he's making dumbass comments.
Daddy Trump did that.
Well, you know what I'm saying.
Daddy Trump did
But he did pave a way for the attention for an African American or black man to be in that spotlight.
Daddy Trump did that. That one movie. Because see that you're telling the truth, but they're rewriting history every day.
Oh yeah.
Just the fact that they're trying to say that the reason why Trump ran for president was because Obama mocked him. In just
Oh,
not
that
even,
other day,
not
no,
even,
no.
but not
It's
even trying to
excuses
bring
for
up the
the
fact of
truth.
birtherism. Trump brought up the birtherism
Right.
party
Yeah.
to mock the birth certificate
Yeah.
of this black president.
Yeah.
Because we didn't hear nothing about from Trump when Bush was in office.
Of
It
course
took
not.
him. It took him to come down that escalator.
Right.
But when this black man was
Right.
president, throwing up a birth certificate saying that it was fraudulent because he was not truly American.
Right.
Trying to make his presidency illegitimate
Right.
because he was black. See, this is the type of rewriting of the history that these people are trying to do to take away from the story of the Jeffrey Epstein situation.
Right.
Let's keep this ball
We got to
going.
keep it. But yeah, you're so
Let's
true.
keep it going.
Thank you, Charles. Yep, exactly. We're going to walk down Jeffrey's
That's
Road
right.
in just a few minutes here. So we've got a few gentlemen that we're going to actually bring some level comment over them as well. And these gentlemen are kind of waking up to the fact of what's going on in America at this point. And I like to hear from them.
Who is it?
Non-popular people. So this is the truth. This is the we the people that are waking up and that have taken the time to get in front of a camera and speak their piece.
Let's hear
them. Okay. Charles, go ahead with man in truth.
A whites-only community could be coming to Missouri in 2025, and yes, you are hearing me correctly. An actual group called Return to the Land is trying to build a segregated whites-only town near Springfield, Missouri. A whites-only community could be coming to Missouri in 2025, and yes, you are hearing me correctly. An actual group called Return to the Land is trying to build a segregated whites-only town near Springfield, Missouri. And this isn't parody, and this is not satire. This is happening in America right now. The founder says that they want to return to their roots, but come on, guys, let's be real. This isn't about heritage. This is about hate. This is about building a safe space for white supremacy under the guise of community. And what's even more disturbing, these people feel so fucking emboldened these days that they're not even hiding it anymore. They're openly promoting racial segregation like it's normal, like this country didn't literally fight an actual civil war to end this bullshit. This is what happens when politicians feed the lie that diversity is the problem. This is what happens when you have people in power pushing the idea that America was better when it was whiter. They want to isolate, they want to indoctrinate, they want to raise their kids in a world where no one challenges their racism, their ignorance, or their twisted version of history. So, here's the question. How in the hell are we letting this happen in broad daylight? Where are the zoning boards? Where are the civil rights investigations? And where is the national outrage? Because if they succeed here, this won't be the last. It'll literally be the blueprint. We are watching the normalization of white nationalism one community at a time. And if you're not disturbed by that, you're either racist yourself or you're just not paying attention.
I'm tired. What America have we been living in for all these years? The suburbs were, you know what? Let me say this. There has always been white flight within this country for many, 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 many years, starting with the suburbs. They didn't want us nowhere near them within the suburbs. The saddest thing about this situation is that the fact that, yes, there has always been a situation where white folks and some other communities have built their own enclaves because they don't want to be within a situation of being next to a brown and black person or whatever you want to call anybody else. My thing is this. This has always been America. The only thing I can say that really we were forced to have to find some commonality in what we thought would help the situation not be so potent. Remember that episode on Living Single when Cal was trying to get the management position on his job, and I hate to say this, it took a brother. It didn't say because this white man didn't tell him this, but it took a brother to tell him in order to get that position, he was going to have to cut his locks.
Oh yeah.
And the fact is that yes, this country has always thought white was right in order to be successful, to assimilate, to be better than what you think or perceive that who you are as an individual, as a diverse individual. Yes. And yes, this is happening in our time because this has always been happening in our time. It's now going to happen within our education system, where you're going to see a lot of private schools, a lot of Christian charter schools at best, building up because nobody.
Christian, but anyway.
Well, hey, it's going to happen because now, they are emboldened because somebody at the head of the fish, I'm just saying, the head of this craziness is now in the White House, and he has emboldened them. He has given them rhetoric. He has given them the nuance that they believe in, that he has given them the push. So yes, you're going to see a more divided, potent, racist, homophobic. You're going to see a lot of that happening right now. It has been happening underneath the surface, but now it's out in the open.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Charles.
Well, the crazy part is a white man's asking, where's the Civil Rights Division? Trump dismantled it, changed their objective. They have a new mission statement. They're worried about people being anti-white now. They don't have discrimination or anything for the minorities or the disenfranchised anymore. Trump dismantled all that. So we're used to people in the government stepping up and trying to defend us, not no more. Trump changed all that. So there's no need to ask them, where's the help? Or when somebody's going to come. Right, but they ain't there.
Yeah, and it's to both of you guys' point, but Marshall used it. It has been built into the fabric of a lot of situations, and these behaviors have been passed down from generation to generation. I would have to say it started right after the movement from slavery, and then those existing colonists or whatever they were at that particular point in time wanted to see the South rise again. We heard that for so long period of time, about the South rising again, and they started to do those things. But at that moment in time, that would have never happened at that particular point in time. But however, I think that you have said, and I think Charles and Dan, we've said on the show that the African American diaspora has gotten so comfortable that the fight has been put on the back seat, and because of that, now things have, it seems like it's overtaken us, and it seems like that it's knocking at the door and all these type of things, and then we're acting like, oh my God, I didn't realize this was going on. So we got caught up in what was going on with so many other cultures and things like that are coming. We got upset about the Asian community coming in our community, putting in a wig shop and all of the things that we did, and not kept the focus on what should have been. We lost Tulsa, we lost Rosewood, we lost Lake Lanier, we lost all of these other beneficial factors.
Was it Auburn Boulevard in Atlanta?
Auburn Avenue.
Auburn Avenue was a thriving Black community,
right?
Too.
And that one, that's that. I don't even understand how Auburn Avenue went away. Because that wasn't infected by the disregarded hate. That was something else, and that again we can look at that another level too. At the end of that. But and I was thinking about this today. I was like, well, all of this and what we're talking about is about power and money. At the end of the day. All right, it still is about power. Everything is going to be about power and money. So my question, and Charles, maybe because you're there in Atlanta, you can contest to this. And when I was living there, I never saw this happen. We had two reputable banks that were Black owned in Atlanta. Capital One, Charles, and then there was Citizens Trust. Okay, I seen more people walking that should have been in a car than I should have ever seen. I seen more people renting than they should have been buying houses. Okay, I've seen far less business loans provided to African or Black Americans, I like saying that, Black Americans than ever. But we owned two banks. What happened? We don't have to answer that. Okay, but it's a part of the fabric of what we're talking about, because right now there's no money to fight against the money. All right, there's no money to put it in that. Now I'm not gonna say it's none, because it's there. It's just been hit very, very well, because money's everywhere. It's just accessible to you. The question, another thing with that. But anyway, so these are what I was just dropping with this little nuggets. Okay, back to the fact of where things are and where they're going to go, because the biggest fight is going to be economic.
Oh yeah,
and it's already in that particular position. Now, I'm the type of person that I don't like to speak non-wealth over my life. This is the way I am. Okay, I don't consider myself a part of a class of people that don't want to change their life. I don't. You can call me whatever. All right, because if I don't think about it here, it's not going to eventually manifest out in front of me. So if I keep buying in to what you don't have, you can't afford, and all that, if it's not in the realm of possibility of your financial means at that time, you wait and make the adjustment to put it in there, or you find something that is not quite as on that price line. But don't keep saying what you can't afford, because you keep saying what you can't afford, you're gonna never afford nothing at the end of the day. So you make the adjustment. People, prime example, you and I, people have called us everything when they found out we were moving to California. Remember? And everybody said, "Oh, it's too high. I'm California. Y'all ain't gonna be able to." Blah, blah, blah. All this negativity came out. Yes, let me put it straight. He can contest. It has been challenging. Okay, we will not say it has not been challenging since we've been in California. Okay, but guess what? You do what you do to survive in the situation you're in, and as the situations change, you make the change. But you cannot keep complaining about where it is and why it's not. Okay, bottom line. Anyway, Charles, go ahead.
Like that nationwide.
Yeah,
it
is.
You go.
It is. So
it's
it
like
is.
that nationwide. It's not only California.
I'm sorry. And been here 6 years. Okay, just we want to let y'all know that. But anyway, go ahead.
Affordability all over this country
Yep.
is ridiculous. You cannot afford rent. You can't afford anything right now. And I think it's funny that anybody would say, if you move here, you move there, you're not going to be able. No, you're not going to be able to just do anything anywhere. People are moving in with their families right now. You got people my age who are living with their parents, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't see nothing wrong with having to go back and start from point A. Nothing is wrong with it. But let's just be real about the situation. Baby boomers and those who had lived in that time.
Wait, now don't be calling the.
I don't care. Those who had lived during a time when you could afford a house at the age of 30, who could go to school and afford tuition. I'm just saying, it's not easy right now in these streets. Go ahead, Charles.
Okay, well, I'm going to share something with you that I think is pretty relevant. Okay. And you can get the gist of it, but warning, there is explicit language in this commentary. So
that's good. Okay.
Here we go.
Yours advice.
Go ahead.
I never started slavery. You know, I don't need to restore your fucking. Go back to Africa. I don't need to be around violent sexual creeps. And stop topping me in that car just like me. You're violating me and exploiting me, fucking goddamn low life nigger. And it's true that you fucked me over. Get the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Today.
Okay, y'all gonna hate me for this. Is she right or is she wrong?
I'm gonna put it like this. She's wrong.
Okay.
She's how can I put it? She's deranged.
She's what?
She's deranged. She has
deranged.
Yeah,
deranged.
Okay.
She has a what we call slighted sense of priorities. Everything she's saying is what she sees in her mind. It's like the narcissistic husband whose wife comes in from being 10 minutes late from work and he goes, "Let me smell your underwear." He's like, "Huh?" He's like, "I need to smell your underwear right now." He's like, "I just came from work. I need to know what you're doing." And that's how white people are right now. They feel like no matter what we do, we're the problem. When they've
always been the problem.
Yeah, everything that happens in this country is shooting white people.
We always been the problem.
White people. Rape, white people. Incest, white people. If you name it, they're the majority. But yet we're worried about immigrants who do maybe 1% of the crimes, and then these disenfranchised neighborhoods who are even less at 20, maybe even 30% of the crimes. But most crimes are committed by white males, and we're not doing anything about that.
Right. Well, and system-wide, and media-wide, that is always a block between that, because you probably don't remember this too much as well. You might have been a little bit young, but Charles and I can remember that every time the late night news came on, they identified the person by their race. Okay, but then there was this big legislation that went down that they stopped doing that, so they don't identify that, which I think is cool. At the end of the day, that part of it is that they don't identify the person that has committed the incident, by their race. You know, because what it did is at one point in time, it made all black men look like they were out there committing crime.
No, what they did was, okay, if there was a robbery, they go, today there's a robbery in New York City, so and so. Then it'd be, and there was a robbery today in New York City by a black man.
Right.
If it's black man, we have to make sure we say it's black man.
Right, exactly. Exactly.
Exactly. Tell them it's a black man.
Exactly.
You know what? And it's just to be honest with you, with that type of paranoia, that lets you know that this country, we're still living in our own bubble within our own set of people. We were talking about building up white enclaves. This woman who was saying all of this lives in a white enclave called her neighborhood.
Right.
Called I don't leave this portion of the community because I don't want to be around anybody else that doesn't look like me.
Right.
Because I'm scared.
Right.
I'm scared because I'm watching the news every day and I'm seeing people being attacked by these folks. Not even the generalization, the culture of generalization in this country is so potent. I hate to say this, polarized, but it's out there in the air. It's always been out there in the air. If I was ignorant, I would say that every white person in America was that woman in that car. Mm-hmm. If I wanted to be really, really just evil, that white woman in that car, in that van, is every white person in America. Just like she said, every black person who is a murderer, who's a rapist, that's all of y'all. I would say the same about a white person, about that woman being the example of every white American in this country. Because I hate to say it, that's how they look at us. We have no luxury in this country called individualism. Right. Just like we would have said, like you said, Charles, she's paranoid. Right. She is mentally deranged. They would say that on the news, but just one crazy white shooter and a school. Right. Not even saying, not even giving them, not even proposing that this could be a whole community of white men, basically, or white women.
So, and both of what you guys said, I know what I'm going to say this point. We got to go watch our next video, but so if you look statistically, okay, not necessarily what comes from a media perspective, statistically, there are more violent crimes that are committed by those by the individuals of the lighter persuasion. You don't find violent crimes that have been committed by black men. I'm not saying they don't do it or they haven't, but the number. Okay, let's just look over the past 20 years, y'all. You can probably remember some of this. I think that I can remember, and please correct me. I'll put it in the comments if I'm wrong, people. That the worst intent from a black perspective was the DC snipers. Okay, since the DC snipers, you have not seen anything in terms of what we have seen in terms of these school shootings, these mass shootings coming up, shooting kids. Shooting kids. Did you find somebody with a black? Did you find a black man with an AKA going through killing the kids in the elementary school?
But this is the hypocrisy.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of building on that, but go ahead. Yeah.
But the hypocrisy is we're spending billions of dollars to get immigrants out because a young lady was killed. One or two, maybe even 5 young white ladies were killed. There's a pedophile out there who's going through sex trafficking. The Abercrombie and Finch? They were found. But are we on them? Are we sending an army to get these white men who did it? Sex trafficking. Yeah, we're not doing any of that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But go ahead.
So busy trying to find an immigrant and put them out, but there's so many other crimes to be
right.
Look at the guys walking through with all these guns. Why are we putting our sources behind trying to stop so much gun violence? We're not, because we really want the guns. We want to make sure that our our Fourth Amendment rights are the same. We can have what we want to. So I'm trying to figure out how we balance this. You're spending over the budget to get immigrants out, but there's sex trafficking amongst white men with money, and nobody's even saying a word about it.
Right, or dodging it, absolutely, and that would open up the Epstein file, everything else that's involved in it, and so true. See, and the point I was just bringing that up is maybe to, like we talked in our meeting yesterday, is that how, as the show Truth Behind Truth, we're going to identify the problem, okay, or the concern, and then we're going to try to, and I don't like that word try, but we're going to make a strong effort to change the idea of what's coming out of the culture by our words, by our deeds, because somebody's got to have a better voice up here that somebody's going to start being able to pay attention. Whether it's 3 people, that's 3 people that saw a little bit different. Go ahead, which one you go?
But I'm looking at Google right now, and I'm reading the statistics. Now they say overall, Black Americans are arrested at 2.6 times the per capita rate of all other Americans, and this ratio is even higher for murder, which is 6.3 times, and robbery, which is 8.1 times.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I also asked what group has the highest crime rate. Official record studies consistently show that Blacks exhibit higher levels of involvement in criminal offending than whites do. Now, also, the percentage of Black Americans having a criminal record,
they give people sneezes.
See, and that's a situation in itself. But it says we estimate that 3% of the total U.S. adult population is 15% of the African American adult male population has been the most going to prison. Let me read that. We estimate that 3% of the total U.S. adult population and 15% of the African American adult male population has ever been to prison. People with felony convictions accounts for 8% of all adults and 33% of the African American adult male population.
So
it's go ahead.
So to your point there, and then I would probably challenge Google to simply say that are these quote unquote alleged crimes? I don't say it this way against
that's the kicker.
Alleged crimes.
Alleged crimes.
Okay, against a particular community, or is it against ourselves?
That's the kicker.
Okay, because it did not expound on the question that you asked.
Yeah, it did.
It by and large, it did not expand. It tailored itself in to a specific group, typically Black Americans.
That's right.
It did. So that's just one, of an example of doing your research, reading, whatever the case may be. But anyway, we're gonna go on. Yeah. So next point is another gentleman that he has not voted. Go ahead. Part of what he's waking up to another element of where he is as a white man in America. But let me let you guys know what he has.
I just saw what Trump posted on his social media. Trump and Obama, and while Trump and Obama are in a meeting, the FBI comes and brings Obama down to his knees, arrests him, and takes him to jail, while having people say no one is above the law. No one is above the law, Donald. That all applies to you, not to Barack Obama. But what I found, most disturbing is that you would post something like this, something so vile and so gross. And I want you to know the rest of the world is looking at you with complete disgust, because that should be removed immediately. And you should send Obama an apology, because what you did was just flat gross. It's not funny. It's not humorous. It's disgusting. And it makes you look horrible, and it brings down the office of the presidency. And that's what I'm most concerned about, because you're already as low as they get in my book, and there's nothing you can do to bring yourself any lower. But to drag down the office of the presidency is even below you, Donald Trump. So please remove that video immediately, because it's just disgusting.
Evil to do what is so right. The saddest thing about this situation, that in a perfect utopia, he would want to send out an apology, but that's not going to be the Donald. That's not going to be the Trump.
No, not at all.
Donald Trump comes from a place of pure evil, and his base comes from that stock. They don't care how it looks to the rest of the world, how he is treating what he perceives as just another Black man who didn't need to be president of these United States of America. You have people who, like that woman in that car, who believes that it's the right way to go about reminding who these uppity Black folks are, that you are, we're going to find a way to make sure that you are in your place. That means putting your leader, who is Barack Hussein Obama, in jail. Yes.
That's not going to happen.
No, it's never going to happen, because Trump messed that up when he gave himself immunity. Because what he did, he just gave every other president pure immunity. I think we have always had that. Don't get me wrong. But on that though, yeah, they had always had that. They had that, and that's the reason why he became president. That's why he fought hard to be president after he had went through all those court cases. That's another situation. Right. But on that though, no, it will never happen. And he is an embarrassment to this country. And you know what? I like I said to Charles yesterday, it doesn't matter how it looks to these people. America is in these folks' eyes is number one. We will always be number one globally around the world, and it doesn't matter what anybody below us thinks about how it looks. Go ahead, Charles. I'm sorry.
No, you know, there are times when I try to rationalize or understand what's actually going on, but there is no way to do that when you look at the bias that is in the system, the so-called court system, and the way the policies are set up within the government. You know, there's such a thing as empowerment of the people, but then the other part is how they're stripping away our rights, which shows that not certain people won't have that same power that other people have. They're redistricting out in Texas. They're redistricting so that Jasmine Crockett and other people can't get back in office. There was a time all that was illegal, but now that we don't have a justice, a discrimination or a justice department that actually looks into fraud, they know what they want to do.
Right.
And I don't understand how someone could say that that's okay when it's not. Think about if Obama did that. Man, they'd be rioting at the Capitol. If he did any of that to white people, they'd be an uproar.
Right. I mean, completely true. Well, I agree. You know, we've got another gentleman that's really right in line of what we're discussing here, but just kind of giving his pushback on what is going on and how he's tired of all of this stuff. That in other words, he's basically tired of also the supremacy side of everything, and him being a white man is not fair to him either, because you know he's looked at as being a white supremacist, even though he's not one. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
So I got a question for anybody who voted for Donald Trump. You know he's on the list now, right? We know, and we know that you know, and you know we know you know, right? You do know that this is absolutely 100% proof positive that he's on the list. First, the list was passed out in little binders to MAGA influencers. Then it was on Pam Bondi's desk. Then it was coming in 2 weeks, and now it doesn't exist. And oh, by the way, the very poorly, shittily edited video where 1 minute just disappeared at the exact moment that Jeffrey Epstein got suicided. You do know this is Donald Trump, right? Dan Bongino is now quitting. He was never qualified for the job, but he's quitting over it. Kash Patel looks like he's quitting over it. And this fake outrage against Pam Bondi. Look, I hate Pam Bondi as much as the next guy, but quit acting like this wasn't Donald Trump's call, because this was Donald Trump's call. Why was it Donald Trump's call? He's on the list, and you know that we know that you know he's on the list. And you said that this list needs to come out and everybody on it should be prosecuted and held to the highest standard of law, and I agree with you. Anybody who's involved in something as egregious as what Epstein was doing, I won't say it on this video to save my account from getting the hammer, but you know what it is, and anybody involved in that needs to be held to the highest extent of the law, and it's your guy. He's made it abundantly clear it's your guy. So now's your chance to stand on business. What you gonna do, MAGA?
Put money behind this fool's rhetoric, and they're not going to do nothing. They don't care that man is a pedophile. Right. And the saddest thing about it is, though, you had a lot of people who follow people like Joe Rogan and who follow these right-wing podcasters who kept saying, well, we're going to drain the swamp. We're going to find out who was on the list, and hopefully they're Democrats. Because they didn't say nothing about Republican legislators or anybody, but they were hoping that a whole bunch of Democrats like Clinton and all of these people were on the list so they could have a reason to pull out the list. Now, not even thinking about the fact that if they would have did their research, if they really would have did their research, that man would, and this man were friends for decades. Best friends for a decade. They're passing
that off.
I mean, and
that never happened.
But this is what we keep talking about, them rewriting history. Yeah. Like I told you some time ago, they want to say that Trump ran for president because Obama mocked him, which we saw him do at the
he told a joke about it.
He told us, well, hey, at the press banquet, whatever you want to call that
White House press corps.
Yeah, White House press corps banquet. But forgetting the fact that this man started a whole movement based on his birth certificate. That was Like, he started this.
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's all about rewriting the history. So, because us Americans, we don't pay attention.
Right. Well, my first question: Why was Donald Trump at that banquet in the first place? Because he had no ties to anything.
He was a guest. He was a guest.
Who invited him?
All right,
I forgot who brought him, but it's somebody on Fox News brought him.
Oh, okay. Right. But then he deserved to get his ass chewed out.
He was invited, Bob. He was invited because they were trying to set. Yeah, they were setting the example. Not setting the example, but they were making a statement to Obama that, you know, we can bring our own people too.
Okay, so there's evidence that there's over 4,000 bank transactions between Donald Trump and Epstein from one of Epstein's accounts to total over several $1 billion. Now you tell me they ain't close. Tell me they ain't close.
Nah, they ain't close. Mm-mm.
And that's only one account.
Right.
Epstein had like 10 or 12, something like that, different accounts around the place. This is just one account. There's over 4,000 transactions and totaling up over to a couple of $1 billion. Now, if you're not my friend and we don't talk, that's a lot of money exchanging hands for us not to talk.
Well, you know, the money talks, but but the bullshit is walking. You know what I'm saying?
He was invited to his second wedding.
Well,
there is video footage of Epstein at this fool's second wedding.
Right.
And
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. But I would like to say this Epstein has so many connections to people who I look at and I look sideways at. You have people in other countries, and I'm gonna put this family up there because they need to be, some of them, this family needs to be called out because they have two individuals that are living here in this US right now who are being abused by their media over in the UK. That family that like to place those stolen jewels up on their heads. See, you got to think about the people that Jeff Epstein supported they are the corrupt and evil people. And I'm talking about the Windsors.
Yeah, that's a whole nother time.
But that's another situation because that's why these two individuals are over here right now to protect themselves from that over there. Right. Now, over here in the United States, we have this fool as president, and he is calling them out too as well, because he's trying to tell them that through this association, I have y'all's back. As long as you have my back, I have your back. The saddest thing about this situation is that we as people do not pay attention, and they're trying to find a way to putting Obama up on the Doppler, and then on the top of that, but Kamala and Beyonce. Why are you so busy trying to sue Kamala and Beyonce?
It's to deflect.
It's to deflect.
Deflect from the truth.
What?
You know, it is. I mean, in any way possible, you know, these are individuals that are very popular in our popular culture and popular society. So if you can put something, you know, well, that too, but if you can put something on it, but I tried to, let's not even get into Kamala. I mean, you know, they tried to do so much with that all along. So if you keep these people in front of the media, in front of these people's faces, it's going to deflect from the fact that, hey, they may even try to get the files and tear them up and burn them up, all we know.
Yeah.
You know,
in the immortal words of Lyndon B. Johnson, if I can make, in Lyndon B. Johnson's words, if I can make the poorest white man feel like he's above the richest black man, he will not pay attention while I'm picking his pocket.
Oh, well, there you go.
True.
Yep, there you go. There you go.
And that has been that since the beginning of this country. If you want to think about it, that's one of the reasons why you had a lot of poor whites who fought in the Civil War who lost more than those planters did. They were fighting for them to exploit and to have slavery when they didn't.
Right.
They couldn't even afford it. Right. But, you know, teach his own. Let's keep it moving.
All right. So we're going to move on. But, you know, we all understand where the situation is going. And I do send a lot of people to our white compadres that are waking up. And, you know, bring and continue to spread your message. If you got something you want to share, we certainly will do that. You know, send us the video. We'd love to hear what you say and how you're going to be affecting society at this point. So moving with that transition, we're talking about what I call our friend, and we don't know her or whatever, but this young lady has just been remarkable, and she is really, really making a lot of people angry for the right reasons.
Please do.
You know, for the right reasons, because she's taking Christian nationalists and putting them in check. She's taking white supremacists and putting them in check. And she's identifying and putting people in the spec where they have mistreated, misquoted the scripture and try to support their platform. This girl is powerful. I'm telling you guys, you need to follow her. Okay, but anyway, this is one point that we want to talk about with her. It's kind of in tying what we're talking about tonight.
Do you always walk into a room and announce your stupidity, or is it just on Fridays? Here's my comment on this. The reason that blacks only communities used to exist is because white people said, you can't come to ours. Schools were segregated. Hospitals were segregated. Black people could not patronize a white business. They were not allowed to go into a white restaurant. So they had to open their own restaurants. They had to get their own doctors. They had to have their own wings in hospitals where they were allowed to go, and they had to use a different entrance than white people. The reason that HBCUs, those historically black colleges, exist is because white people said, you cannot go to school with us. You have to go to school on your own. So they built their own fucking schools so that they could get an education and a better life. And by the way, anyone can attend an HBCU because now we have civil rights, which says that no school, no place of work is allowed to discriminate against you based on your race. They didn't make that law because black people and minorities were discriminating against white people. They made that law to stop white supremacists, because white supremacists would only hire white men. White supremacists wouldn't allow black people to come to school with them. When Ruby Bridges in 1960 went to school for the first time at a previously all-white school, she had to be escorted by federal marshals so that white adults wouldn't hurt or unalive her. She was 6 years old. And when black people weren't allowed access to the community that they lived, they built their own, and they were damn good at it. And when they got too good, like in Tulsa, deputized vigilantes came in and burnt their entire neighborhood down. Look at the Tulsa massacre. They slaughtered them because they were too successful in 1928. Go check it out. And if you're not going to pick up a goddamn book and learn something and get educated, get your white supremacist ass off my page. Because the reason that the black church exists is because of the sins that the white church has yet to repent for. Because Christians, white Christians, said, you cannot worship here because we are superior to you. Christians did that. The reason that those black communities exist is because of the sins of white supremacy in this country. The reason there were neighborhoods only is because federal redlining was legal, where they could go to developers and say, yes, you can build that suburb. Yes, you can sell it for this great rate, but you can only sell it to white people. That's why those things exist. So either learn, open a book, do better, be better for every single American, no matter what color they are, or get the fuck off my page.
Black people, if you want to know this tip of history, FYI, Plessy versus Ferguson. Now, in 1896, the Supreme Court case Plessy versus Ferguson established the legal basis for racial segregation in the United States for 50 years. This case centered on a Louisiana law requiring separate railway cars for blacks and white passengers, and it was whether it violated the 13th or 14th Amendments. Okay, the court ruled that the law was constitutional, upholding the concept of separate but equal. But the saddest thing about it is you have these people who will tell you in a nutshell. Well, you know, I don't understand why they won't stay in their place. Why do they want to come into my community? Why they want to tear up this and why they want to do this? And I keep saying to myself, we had all of that. Even in Birmingham, Alabama, we had it. There was a community called Dynamite Hill. And I told y'all this story about the fact that these were middle-class black people who could afford nice homes, but you had people, poor whites, who did not like the fact that black folks could afford nice homes. So what did they do? They went in there and dynamited those communities. And the saddest thing about it is you have people like Condoleezza Rice who supports them rewriting that history. She's from Birmingham, Alabama. She actually is from the same neighborhood as Angela Davis. And that's what I don't understand, these black folks being tools for these white Republicans. And not only these white Republicans, but these white Democrats too. Those who are so busy trying to rewrite the horrific tale of what this country has did to our community and will support it, sing and dance behind it. I'm tired of it. I am, but Charles, go ahead.
That's all for, I think the one thing we got to remember is, like the theme of the show is building a winning circle. There has to be some type of atonement, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be financial. It can be within policy, would be the best.
That's a good point. That's a good point, Charles.
So if we can just actually realize, and I say this every week, if we can realize that None of us can survive by ourselves. It takes all of us as a group to survive on this planet. We're too busy segregated, sectioned off, isolated, denigrated. Anything you can name is a difference in the way society runs. But I think that as a nation, we have to understand that we have to do better. As a community, a Black community, we have to realize that until we become lock and step in one, I would say, one unified steps, whether it be financial, education, even community, until we have at least one thing we come together about, we're not going to have a foundation to work from. So
we need a cultural reset.
We do. We have to find a reset to come to grounds at. And I'm like anybody else. You can't blame the white man for everything because he ain't making y'all gangs. He's not making you kill each other. He's not. You're doing this junk because you want to. So like the other viewer said, and I get it. If I'm a white person that has a good heart and trying to do good things, and everything it's just like being Black, and everybody Black is bad. So it's a dichotomy that we have to learn to adjust to. And until we realize that, hey, we all have to do better, we're not going to do anything. We're going to be stuck.
Well, and you know what you hit in this kind of next video, I know it's going to be a play to what you're saying, but it is a part of the problem. Okay, and you have to admit whether you like it or not is another thing. It can be you can like something that are problems, at the end of the day. You know what I mean? At the end of the day. So this, I just saw this, and this is one of the reasons why within the culture of Black people we have what we have. There's no volume. I mean, this is everybody know without me saying that name. Okay, we know who she is. We know where she came from. We know what she did. Okay, don't knock her for her hustle. All right, but she's a hot disgracing mess to me. Okay, she is. Now some men like all that ass that she done paid for and put behind her behind. And the number one thing about this, when this video was released, every comment was talking about how unproportionately that she looks. Okay, at the end of the day, all right, all manufactured. At the end of the day, I know some people. Well, Cardi's done this. Well, this is not an example of somebody that you want coming out of a community of leadership.
But that's not it. I'm gonna push back on that. Because Cardi, outside of all these other folks, actually gets politically involved. She's with the Get Out the Vote Act. She also spoke up when there was the George Floyd thing. She speaks out. She's active in the community. So whether she got a fake ass or a fake breast, she's active more than most people are who don't have it. I'm me personally. I get tired of people judging physical attributes. If you want to build it, build it. If you don't build it, don't build it. But
no, I know what you're saying, but.
It's your integrity that counts more than anything.
I have to agree, but then I have to disagree. Okay, because you are a representation, and people. The number one thing that before you open your mouth, people are going to see what you look like coming in the door. Period.
That's people. Keep thinking of that. That's people.
But again. Okay, the same thing that we as it was the conversation has been building a better circle. Even as men of color, you are a very intelligent man. He's a dynamic man. I'm a dynamic man. When we walk into a room, now this is just a shift on the ass, okay? But you are already perceived before you open your mouth coming in that room, regardless of what, and that's by both cultures.
But that's a problem.
No, I get it. I know, I get it. Okay, but my point is just push back slightly what you're saying. So it's appreciative that she does get involved in those particular areas, but people are not looking at that. They're looking at the display of what comes out first.
But that's not her problem. That's a
problem. But it is her problem.
Because it's not, JB. That's their problem. They have judgment. That's the problem we got in America today. Too many people are judging everybody. That's the problem. Everybody wants to judge everybody on what they don't like. And it's not
okay, but you're creating, and this is my opinion, agreeable or not, you're creating for yourself an adverse attention. You are. There's no two ways about that.
But that's not the totality of the situation.
That's not my point.
I hear what you're saying. Okay. But I'm hearing what you're saying, though. And I understand what you're trying to get at with the presentation and the look of trying to represent what is of some form of modesty and in your representation. But my thing is this. At the end of the day, there are people out here who are actually doing the work that do not look the type.
I agree. That's not. But my point is, this is. I understand all of you guys' points and what you're saying about that, but that is not the attention that the majority of the people that need to wake the fuck up.
They're not gonna wake up.
They're not waking up.
They're
So
not gonna
we
wake
just
up.
close out the big amazing Beyonce's Cowboy Carter to, oh my God, everybody's talking about how fabulous Beyonce is. I'm not saying that Beyonce doesn't say a whisper every now and then. Now she does provide. We did out here. She paid for the fire. I mean, she gave $2.5 million. Okay, but we're celebrating celebrities and what they do. Celebrate what you are doing. That's my point.
Jay Leno said this not too long ago, and this is my problem with. This is where it gets very iffy with what you're trying to convey. Americans don't want to be lectured; they want to be entertained. That is the situation about this country. That is the situation. You're talking about people who are
never change what we're changing. But go ahead.
But you got people. You're saying that people are looking at her out of appearance. That's because they don't want to see what they don't want to see more than what she comes to the table with.
I agree. I'm not
They
disagreeing.
don't want to see more, and that is. I don't care if Coretta Scott King came up from the grave dressed appropriately and to the point. They don't want to even hear from her in these times. They wouldn't want to hear from her in these times. They don't even want to hear from Jasmine Crockett either. They don't want to hear from Kamala. They have an excuse in their mind that if we hear this, that means we have an accountability and a responsibility to make some change. And nobody wants responsibility over their life.
So that's where we are right now. Now you have hit the nail on the head, jumped on the ship, whatever you want to call it.
What you're saying is an excuse to the reason why they didn't want to listen to this girl. Right. Because I've seen Cardi in some situations where she gets on her lives and she's trying to tell her fans, y'all, wake up to what's going on in our time right now. Listen, you do whatever you want to do at your platform. I have not seen other people. Puff Daddy, I ain't seen Nicki. I don't know about
that. Puff Daddy has. I hate to say it.
No, I have not seen Floyd Mayweather.
Yes.
I have not
Puff Daddy put money into the party, and he also rallied the people together under the hip hop culture to vote. That's how Obama got in there. That was a Puffy thing. That's not because Puffy's got, like I said, everybody has their own character. But the work you do is the work you should be noted for. That's just like you. If you walk into a room, you and your husband, people gonna judge you out to bed and say,
that's my whole point. So as so-called leaders, what do you do in this circle to change that narrative? Because these people are the people that need to be making these ultimate decisions. They're not making fair decisions for themselves, number one. So what do you do in that circle? What do you do if you're the
country? There needs to be a cultural reset. And I'm going to keep saying that because of the fact that even during the time of here, Billy Fonte, Sidney Portia, and Diane Carroll, all of these people, these black faces, they were on code about what they were trying to get across.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's right. These people, regardless if they were entertaining or not, they had a purpose to make sure that their representation was on point. Right now, everybody's all over the place.
I agree.
Just like the community as a whole. We're all over the place. You don't know who and where and who. This type of situation is the reason why I keep saying, and we said this in the meeting last night, everything should not be televised. Every plan, every strategy, everything should not be 6 o'clock news for everybody else's consumption. And that is the problem with our community. We want everybody to know our business so we can get some things across. That's not how it works.
And everybody don't need to be saying everything.
That's not how this thing works.
Because first of all, let me say it to those people that are out here with these other podcasts or whatever you want to call them. If you don't have a purpose in mind to bring unity to your own people, shut the hell up. Okay, because you're creating even more of divide. You like that woman you listened to the other day. I'm like, what the hell? What are you saying?
Oh, well, that's another situation.
Yeah, but still, you don't keep magnifying something in order to get something better at the end of the day. Downtown.
The clickbait.
Exactly. I get you. I understand. So let me say this. I know we got to wrap. So Tyler Perry was on Kurt Franklin's podcast roundtable, whatever he's having the other day. You probably saw it, Charles. Did you see it?
I saw it.
Yeah. So I have to agree with Tyler on one thing. He says the internet has been typically one of the black people's worst enemy at this point because everybody feel like because they got a computer or a phone in front of them, they can say everything they want to. So you got tribalism. You got this pocket over here that believes in Cardi's big butt. I'm just using an example. You got this crowd over here that believes in the beehive. She can't do nothing wrong. Everybody going to run out by thousands to defend if Beyonce sneezes, and then you use a handkerchief on stage. Oh, she just beat, she did, but whatever. You know what I'm saying? So you got all of these defending these behaviors, but where is the unity that needs to change all of this situation from these people? That's all I'm saying. You know, if you got a platform like that, but then here again, what was it, Charles? You remember this probably, I'm sure you do, probably 12, 13 years ago, maybe, that I think it was on GMA that what's her name? Not Cardi, what's the other girl? Nicki Minaj. She came out and said that she didn't want to take responsibility for other people's kids, but came out through her music.
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Basically, yeah.
Really?
Walker said, "I am not a role model.
Not a
Your
role
parents
model.
should be."
Well, then get the flick off of people's, just go somewhere else, because hold on, let me finish. We are all, whether you like it or not, everybody's called to be some role model to somebody. That is period, straight across the board, and you cannot change that.
And guess who supported that rhetoric? Guess who put their hard-earned money behind that
I
rhetoric?
know.
When somebody says that and you would say that's wrong, somebody else is going to put their money and say, well, you know what, I support that rhetoric. And that's the saddest thing about
You
this.
just said
that's the
lack
saddest,
of no accountability,
lack
and
of
no responsibility. Period.
That, and I cannot say that she had gotten what she wanted out of the deal, because you got people out here doing what they think was best to follow what she had going on. But you know what's so sad is the fact that at the end of the day, you're going to still have poor working folks putting their hard-earned money behind people who could give a damn about their livelihood.
Yeah.
That is the saddest thing about this situation. I cannot blame the pimp for pimping.
No, I understand.
The pimp is going to keep pimping unless we give him the work or her the works. You cannot.
But as a group, quote unquote, we will go and ban it. We will not shop at Target. But we can't send a message to a woman that's nothing to do with her talent, that the woman has toured over and probably had walked away from that tour with probably almost $50 or $60 million richer than she when she started the tour. But we won't say to her, the Beehive, we won't say, hey, can you bring the prices down that everybody can afford?
But they put their money behind it.
That's not my point. I understand that. All right. That's not the point. We put our money behind Target and Walmart and everything else, but we still go.
You can't control these people.
I know, but I'm just saying.
Up until today, Taylor Swift was the main person. Up until now, Taylor Swift was the main person. Beyonce was making that money.
I get it. Yeah, I get it. I understand that this is a cultural problem. I understand. But we've got to talk about the cultural problem and put the people on blast that are influencers. They influence the problem. They do. I mean, she could make the decision. She could, this woman, Cardi B and everybody else, they could make the decision. Okay, yeah, you know that you're an icon, a alleged icon. You know that you got people following. You know you got people following you for the wrong reasons.
They don't care.
And you don't care. Thank you. Exactly. You don't care.
Because why care if you have plenty of people who can't even afford the tour, but they'll go and put their last into make that's who's suing who's suing her.
Yeah.
But these people have put up money, have taken out loans off 401k to go see this tour. Now, I'm not going to throw mud at Beyonce or whoever that's on tour.
About the mud.
No, but I'm just saying, I'm not gonna throw mud at them, because at the end of the day, we have a choice. If these people would have made the right choice, at least that arena would have been half full.
Right.
But then you had people who made the choice that they were going to either save or go take or go get loan money.
Rent, not pay.
That's right. That's right.
And they made a decision. But you know what?
I cannot throw stones at those. Like, I'm going to sit here and say this. I'm not going to throw stones at Trump. You want to know why I'm not going to throw stones at Trump? We had years of knowing who this man was. We all knew how crooked this man was, but you had black as well as white, as well as Indian, as well as Muslim, Christian, who said we should vote for this man, because this man is either a businessman, he is American first, he's going to put America first, he's going to give me a STEMI, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, and knowing that this man, Truth Behind the Truth.
No. You know the title of the show? Charles, what's the title of the show?
Building shoot, I got lost now.
Building a winning team.
Building a winning circle. Yeah.
But the facts are the facts. I'm not going to sit here and blame the pimp, because at the end of the day, if you're going to still keep going to this person's church, if you're going to still keep going to this school, if you're going to still worship, if you're gonna still vote for this man or this woman who you know ain't doing the job, and you're gonna still keep putting them in there, then I cannot blame these people. All I can do is turn around and blame. What are we doing?
No.
Munchausen syndrome. That's what it is.
Like
Munchausen.
Right, exactly. Like you say all the time, Charles, is that we stand at the window looking out, pointing the finger. But the main thing is like our iconic figure that had said it best, that the song made number 2 and didn't make number 1, because when it made number 1, you'd have had to become accountable, which is Michael Jackson, the man in the mirror. Best song he ever put. Best song of accountability. Best song of responsibility. Best song of every song. Better than better every song. Then better than that song.
Be the change you want to see.
Huh?
Be the change you want to see.
Be the change you want to see. Exactly. So, I'm gonna go to our podcasters, and as we bring it to a close, you got some real quick.
I got some real quick.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me finish. Okay.
The greatest politician in this lifetime was Martin Luther King, because he passed more legislation out of Congress. He did.
He influenced. He didn't pass any, but he influenced.
So all of these podcasters and everybody else that are out here running your mouth and saying things that are completely inappropriate in the most unethical way, shut the hell up, please. Because you
know what? You talking to the choir with that.
But okay.
Go ahead. Finish what you gonna say. Go ahead.
No, you finish. You got it.
I mean, because it makes no sense. They ain't gonna shut up because they making money. They ain't gonna shut up. Why shut up? That's your stick. Your stick is to cause chaos and confusion and craziness. That's how people are making their money right now. That's how Trump has made his money. Like, I would vote for Joe Biden even if he shot Trump on the 5th. And at the end of the day, these people gonna do what you think they should not do. Just shut up. They gonna do what they gonna want to do because it brings like these situations with gender wars. I don't understand why we have gender wars right now. We can't even afford gender wars. That rise and fall. Yeah, that's what we're about to head into right now. We're about to go into a totalitarian situation because people do not see the need to get up and do what they need to do, local or state. I don't want a nation of thinkers. I want a nation of workers. And you know what? That is the purpose of the Republicans right now. That's the reason why the Department of Education has now been liquidated. It's gone. And I keep joking with some of these parents that are now sending their kids out to school. In these times, how are you going to be able to afford a free lunch right now? Because now they're going to they already took away the free lunch programs. And then on top of that, after school programs, that's now snatched up. How are we going to... Oh, child. Okay. It is what it is. It is what it is. Either you're going to be the change or not be the change. That's all I'm going to say about it. Be the change. I'd rather be the change.
Well, that's the constant message I've been trying to say.
Don't say it.
I have to identify the issues of where they are in order to speak to that change. But we cannot keep giving pacified situations over it because of the way that they are. Whether it's one person, whether it's two person, whether it's a whole community of people that follow these people. If they said something different will be done. When you sit with the power and you don't use it for the right way, you are at fault. It doesn't matter what level that it is. You have power in your hands to make change. You don't. You are at fault, period, at the end of the day. Because it's a selfish motive. It's something that you don't really care about the people that are in front of you. You don't care about anybody inside. Because it's more important for you to walk around with a big ass. It's more important for you to walk around and have the biggest selling concert at all point or whatever the case. These are just examples because the people talking about. It's all important. It's the same way with Donald Trump at this particular point in time. It's very important to a certain community of white people that this man is in office. Why they put him in office so they can do and say what they want to do and not be accountable for what they say and do. Because he hell, if I go out and shoot a bunch of black people, I'm gonna get pardoned from it anyway. So why do I have to care? Why do I have to care? Because guess what? It's about me. As long as it remains about me, I don't have to put the effort into educating anybody. Because guess what? It's about me, and I will open up my computer. My bank account says something. It's about me.
And who supports that me?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who supports. It's the idea of what comes from the individual that has that me attitude. That's what the important part is. So until the me's become we's, we're gonna have a lot of me's. Okay, and we got a lot of me's that are still going on right now that need to Shut up.
Until the we's come up against the me's, we will be in a better situation.
That's what I said earlier.
That's right.
That's what I said earlier. Stop paying the kids. Stop paying and put a demand out there. She hear everything. I'm just using Beyonce's example because it's just the highlight of the day. You know what the concert thing is. You know what the price is. Okay. You need to set the tone for your me. Okay, and let your me be in a position that you can adjust your life for. Now, some of y'all paid for it. Okay, good. I applaud you. Okay, at the end of the day, but guess what? When you need some money to do something else, would you think about that $500, $600, $700 you gave that woman that's going on home and doing her thing? All right, at the end of the day, for what is it, 2-hour show? Okay,
yeah.
I'm wanting to go see a show up here. Well, us to go up to a show on Broadway here in LA, and I'm counting up the costs about how to go to the show on Broadway. All right, but I would gladly pay on Broadway $125 versus going somewhere else and paying $325. Big difference. Big difference. Talent versus the legend. Anyway,
the choice that you have.
Choice that you made. I get it, and I get it. That's what when we started this show, and when we said this show was going to be helping guide people into accountability and responsibility, letting them know that they were enough. Okay, that they could be dependent upon within themselves as long as they get in, knowing that they have the greatest authenticity that they were gifted with by our Creator. That was the model. That is the model of our show.
Yeah, but I stopped blaming celebrities and people of influence because of the fact that, I love that picture. The saddest thing about it is until we stop cussing each other out over lunch counters or over dumb stuff and really look at who is causing all of this craziness and chaos. Kanye West, as crazy as he is, he still got fans and he still has support. And I cannot blame Kanye for acting crazy or acting out. If you got people who are still putting money in your pocket, I don't think, hey, who am I to say?
Well, you are to say.
No, who am I to say? Because there are going to be people who are going to still support wrong when they know it's wrong.
Right, but you are to say. I mean, you never know when your voice is actually.
Did you know that R. Kelly has a song this good kind of going viral?
Yeah, with Malcolm J is a tribute to
Malcolm Jamal Warner. Yeah, he made a song from prison for dedicated to Malcolm Jamal Warner.
That's good. That's
a good song.
That's good.
I heard it. But then, R. Kelly, I wish he would have.
Anyway.
Okay. I'm done. I'm off of that. I'm off.
But the situation here is that we're all responsible for each other. And, if we don't begin to.
I am my brother's keeper.
You are my brother's keeper.
I am my brother's keeper.
Absolutely. We are responsible. And I think we won't inevitably see any of the changes that we've talked about today until we all individually wake up and realize that we are my brother's keeper. And that's on every level.
We were his keeper.
No.
We were R. Kelly's keeper for a long time.
For the next 20 years at least.
God dog it. But that's another unfortunate situation too. It's unfortunate. It's so unfortunate how I heard that song the other night and I said, God, you couldn't find it within yourself to go seek help. And I know I'm ruining the moment, but this is the truth. You had people behind you, even in your wrongs. You had people supporting you. You had a community behind you, and you still didn't see the error of your ways.
He did.
Yeah.
He didn't know how. He was ignorant. He was completely ignorant to everything. All he had to do is all he could do. He had a talent, but he started listening to ignorant people that were around him to exploit his talent. He was ignorant. He couldn't
the only
read.
one that's ignorant.
Well, no, but he had ignorant reasons. He was abused. He was all of those other type of things. This is not defending his actions by any means, but he was ignorant. But his ignorance led him to a place where he is now. I mean, that alone should be an educational point for some.
Well, it's not really ignorance; it's arrogance. He thought he was above everything. He thought he was more powerful than the system.
What I'm saying about ignorance, Charles, because he was not educated. He was not educated. He couldn't read. At the end of the day, I mean, he couldn't read. He couldn't. This is stuff that he admittedly couldn't do. So people took advantage of that opportunity.
That had nothing to do with it. R. Kelly made decisions that he made wrong decisions. Not that he couldn't read, and that's another thing. It's almost like Gordon Parks. Gordon Parks couldn't read music. He made his own notations, and same with R. Kelly. He wrote his own musical notations that he played from. And when you got the kind of genius, you're not like everyone else. It's like,
well, right, but somebody has to coach you into that understanding, because if you're complete, when you're ignorant to most things, especially when it comes to reading, you're going to be ignorant to a whole lot of other stuff. And nobody helped him get better at that particular day.
So who helped all those priests? All those priests that molested them little boys. Where they
no. Okay, wait, stop. No, we're not doing that. Okay, what I'm just trying to
yes, we are. We are doing that. You can't keep pointing fingers at people and not realizing the connection. The connections that are
pointing a finger at him. Okay, you both are missing my point tonight. What I am saying is that yes, the account, but there is a place where he had to understand, or people had to understand, this man was ignorant.
I hear what you're saying.
Okay, that doesn't explain. That's not changing the narrative about what has happened to the decisions he's made. But he made a lot of those decisions out of ignorance.
We're talking about R. Kelly, y'all. That's what
right.
We're on the subject of R. Kelly. But my thing is, at the end of the day, we still have these people out here. You still have people who do not want to see the error of their ways, because there is people, average American poor folk, who are putting money behind these people, and they don't think that they have nothing. There is nothing to change. You know, and it took a while for R. Kelly to be in this situation. It took him a long, long time for him to be locked up behind bars, because we as Black folks didn't want to see it for what it really was. And that is sometimes our situation. We didn't want to see that this man went and took a 14-year-old Aaliyah to Detroit to marry her. And then once the public found out, or the family found out, it was annulled. But then what we didn't know was that she was pregnant. And that, at the end of the day, that should have been a situation where, as the community, we should have said, you know what, that ain't cool, bro. No. But then it gave an avalanche to a whole lot of other people that were doing the same things as well. I mean, we talk about Puff Daddy, we talk about a whole lot of people, but it gave other people ammunition to do the same damn things. And you have people like pastors who are out here, and teachers who are out here doing the very same thing. They don't want to see the
church has been doing it for years, centuries. So that's what I'm saying. You can't keep pointing at what other people do. There are people of the same cloth. They do the same thing.
Somebody gave them the green light to do it, just like with this situation with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump.
Yep.
For a decade, Trump and this man were friends, and they were out here doing crazy stuff. And God, oh my God, I don't want to see what they were doing. But the fact is that the society that we live in gave these two the green light. They got money. They are rich. They are white. They are male. They have an island. Why not? Why not? So if you got people giving you this type of, platform, well, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. Hey, as long as you don't get caught, you're fine. So that's the problem. That's the problem. Until we start cutting these folks off and saying, you know what, no, we're not going to support this, then things will change. But it's going to take us to say no. I don't care how popular you are and how well you dribble a ball and how well you sing or write. Somebody needs to say hell no, and we will not support this. But we got people who will support it. I mean,
yep, that is the element, and until those people that support it see themselves better than what they do, then it's going to be this vicious cycle that it is. But as I always say and tried to say earlier, is that we can't change the community of what people do per se, but you can always speak to the situation, and the hope is that maybe somebody will eventually hear you, and somebody does hear you. Somebody, your voices are that. I mean, hell, Jesus walked into among many people, and everybody didn't hear what he said.
That's right.
Everybody didn't. They had people with all kind of motives and everything else, and we want to, Christian people want to separate the idea of Jesus's experience in among humanity, but the ones that heard, and the ones that will hear will eventually make a change for the betterment of their life. Mm-hmm. But somebody has got to be a voice, and my opinion is that when you have a voice of popularity, and you use that for something other than that's been given to you, what good are you? Because you're not using it for what you're actually being gifted for to do. You'll be coming across all kinds of people. You talk to people, Charles talks to people, we all talk to people at different points in our life. And I think that's the least that I know for the three of us, when we're in the pathway of somebody, we're not trying to lead them in the wrong direction. We're trying to give them proper knowledge and information to better their lives from the moment they left us. And if the rest of society, humanity, is not going to will that, I'm sorry for you, because that, to me, if there was a registration of two different eternity places, then that might be the eternity place. I don't know, but we all have a responsibility to each other.
That's right.
And we started out talking about this show about the African diaspora and where it has led us, and we're talking about thousands of years of misunderstandings and all of that type of stuff. We're talking about thousands of years of civilizations rising and falling.
That's right.
And this is why I will not believe that America is the Christian country that they think that it's supposed to be, by no stretch of the imagination, nor will it ever be, because the virtue of the fact of what we exactly just talked about right now. Nobody, these people are not concerned about building a winning circle. The winning circle means that everybody in your livelihood is a part of that winning circle. Everybody you meet, you want them to be a winner.
You don't even see that on your job.
Nope.
Nobody wants to know.
Nope.
You don't.
Because,
you got people on your job that don't want to see people win.
Because either you know too much for them, or they feel like you're going to replace them, or whatever. And that's all about control and power. Hey, if I let you win, that means that I am less of an authoritative figure in the room at that particular time. Mm-hmm. So the truth behind the truth is a winning circle. How do you start building a winning circle? You have to start building a winning circle in your own caliber, within your own self. You have to see yourself as a winner yourself. And then that winning will attract people that wins. Yeah. You may not be the president, or I have all of these other stadiums full of people that come see you at the end of the day. But if you're allowing that winning part of you, that either that person on the street or that person that asks you for $1 or whatever that case would be, and that is where the true winning starts for the less unfortunate.
Well, who was that said that the revolution should not be televised? Who said that?
Oh, somebody said, but yeah,
Gil Scott Heron had a song that said, "The revolution won't be televised."
Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Well,
and you know what? Other communities have taken that to heart.
Yeah, well,
because at the end of the day, there is a common goal. If you win and I support me, and it goes down the line. And you know what? None of that is being televised. You're just seeing it in deeds. You're seeing it in growth. You go down La Brea, there are nice homes down La Brea. Nice homes. But you know who live in those nice homes?
Yeah.
The ones that we like to say control the media, control everything, because you want to know what they believe, that everything should not be televised. We are a community that believes in a community of people. We have our common goal is the Torah, and we believe and we subscribe to that. Whenever everybody else don't subscribe to it, we don't care. We are about this, and we are going to respect and also support.
Yeah. Well, again,
it
goes back to
no hate for that. I don't.
It goes back to what you've been taught. It goes back to what you've been taught as a culture. And then again, we can sit and go back and forth about the different reasons and things like that. But I think that the finger pointing, as Charles says, it has to stop. It has to stop. It has to stop with us. Even to the point of the conversation, we, like you and I were talking about yesterday, we've got to change the conversation and stop it about being about another group of people. Because if it's not changing your group of people, what's the purpose? If it's not building a purpose for your life, why is it that every podcast has to talk about this? And we are somewhat guilty of that. But the reason why we talk about these things, not to elaborate and make them look all of it, it is to bring information to you so that you can change your narrative and move forward in your life. Okay, there's a difference in talking about it, but these other people that are out here, I'm sorry, y'all ain't talking about shit.
Someone commented on my page, why do you do all that talk? You do all that talking, but what are you doing? So I had to fight back and go, okay. So I not only do I get out publicly and discuss it, I also mentor children or teenagers. What's going on. I also am a part of an anti-child trafficking.
Yes, you are.
So I don't just sit on here and go, well, we need to do. I participate. I try to be active. I can't do everything I want to do because there's only so many hours in a day. But I don't, as they say, I walk it like I talk. I don't sit up and talk all this trash and don't do anything. So when people come
go ahead, Charles. I'm so sorry.
I just when people do that, I just want them to know, hey, I participate. I don't just sit on here yabbering about what changes need to be done and who do what. I
Right.
actually participate.
Right, absolutely.
That's right.
And that's what the premise of this show has always been from when it was started, you know. And if you know what, I'm not going to make any apologies for what we've done. I think I apologize. I'm going to take your apology for us that you have not embraced us into taking what we have wanted to bring to your life to help you be that change in society, because we don't owe you an apology about anything.
But you know what, doing community work it doesn't have to be so elaborate. You know what? If there's an opportunity for a job somewhere, for example, and you know that somebody is hiring and you know somebody down the road really needs a job because they are down on their luck, and you go to that place and you go to that person's place and say, listen, there's an opportunity here. Be there at such and such time. I know somebody who can get you the job. You just got to be there, prepared, dress well, be there at such and such time, and I can get you an interview. If you are doing that, then you are doing the work.
Absolutely.
You know how many people I have went around when I got hired on with Frito? I said, you know, if Frito's having a hiring event, come out. There, you know, you can get a job easily, but you know, it's up to them to make that choice.
Yeah.
My next door neighbor, hey, she gave me an opportunity, but this job that I work takes so much of my time.
Yeah.
But she did the community work.
Yeah.
It takes that type of situation to bring about change in somebody's life. But then on top of that, if somebody has did that for you, it's up to you to keep that tree growing.
Yeah.
But then there's a problem. There's a disconnect with that within.
Well, that's what we call it, building a winning circle.
Building a winning circle.
Yeah.
We had a winning circle. Let's not get into that.
No,
we're not going to get into that. But we had a winning circle. But you see, things have to happen. Things have to change.
Yeah.
Because without, change, there's no growth.
When people don't believe in what you're doing,
that's right.
They leave.
They leave. That's why people leave churches, leave schools, leave communities. They don't see no growth and they just go and then they, hey,
they leave.
It is what it is.
You know? So and then some people have to go. They have to go. So the good can come to you, because sometimes people are a block for your whole life.
That's right.
They are a block for your whole entire life, so they have to go. But anyway, we've got to go now. Okay. All right. It has been
conversation we had.
It was. We're way over time.
But these are sometimes
way
it
over
needs to
time.
be over.
Yeah. But next week we will pick up, and in a couple of weeks we'll be wrapping for the season for a couple of weeks, and we'll be back middle of September when everybody else on network television comes back. All that, everybody's on their little hiatus period. But as you guys know, we do take one. We're going to have an interesting season 6. I think some of the things that we've carried over from this season, we're going to carry over, and probably even more. We've discussed in the meeting how, bringing video commentary to the platform. I think that helps a great deal, and it does bring a different perspective on information that we feel that is helpful for your life, at the end of the day. So start sharing, start liking, please. All right. Please share and like this show. Okay. Please share and like this show.
That's free.
It is. And if you take the time to pass by, stay. Okay? You click, stay. Click and stay. That's what we need to do. Click and stay. All right? Anyway, we will see you next week as you go forward this week and continue to build your winning circle as we continue building our winning circle.
Yeah.
All right? And if you want to share us about it, send us an email, and we'll love to hear about you taking a step to winning your. We will celebrate you building your winning circle. All right. Thanks so much for tuning to the Truth Behind the Truth Night. We love you, and guess what? We will see you next week, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. No, Pacific time. Y'all get coming in. 8:30 Central and 9:30 on the East Coast. All right. Y'all be blessed. We love y'all. Thank you. Bye bye.